Today, we're going to talk about one of the most incredible things about you, your immune system. But we're not going to get lost in jargon. Instead, let's think about your body as a nation, a fortress that's constantly on guard, defending itself from invasion.
So let's run with this idea. Picture your body as a massive, bustling nation. It's got critical infrastructure, borders that need protecting, and a really sophisticated defense network. And the threats? Well, those are the microorganisms all around us. Bacteria, viruses, think of them as thieves or even terrorists trying to sneak in and cause some serious trouble.
So how does this nation, our body, protect itself? Well, the first thing any country needs is its everyday, always-on security. This is what we call innate immunity. It's the first line of defense.
Now, this first line is all about physical barriers, literally the nation's borders. Your skin, that's the border fence. It's tough, it's resilient, and it physically stops most things from getting in. Then you've got things like mucus, tears, and saliva. These are like the border's CCTV cameras and water cannons. They trap intruders and wash them away. And your stomach acid? That's a straight-up chemical security zone, like a moat that just dissolves invaders on contact.
But, what happens if a few troublemakers actually manage to slip past those border defenses? That's when the local police show up. In our body, these are cells like neutrophils and macrophages. They're like the cops on the beat. They don't need a warrant, they don't check IDs. If something just looks out of place or suspicious, they attack. Immediately.
So the most important thing to get about this innate system is how it operates. Its biggest pro is that it's fast. It's on the scene in an instant, but its weakness? It's not specific, and it has absolutely no memory. So if the same thief comes back the next day, the local police won't recognize him. They'll just see suspicious guy and react in the exact same way they did before. It's a fresh fight every single time.
And that leads to a pretty obvious question, right? Local police are great for handling petty crime, but what happens when you're not dealing with a lone thief, but a major organized attack? They're just going to be overwhelmed. They aren't equipped for that.
And that is when the nation calls in the big guns. This is your acquired immunity. This isn't the local police anymore. This is the nation's highly trained army and its intelligence agencies all rolled into one.
And unlike the police, these elite forces don't just rush in. No, they follow a very specific protocol. First, the intelligence agents, your T cells, identify exactly who the enemy is. Then they activate the special forces, the B cells. Those commandos then build and deploy custom-made weapons, or antibodies. And maybe most importantly, once the threat is gone, they create a permanent watch list. They remember the enemy. It's an incredibly powerful system, but all this planning, well, it takes time.
Let's look closer at those intelligence agencies, the T cells. These guys are the spies and analysts. They don't attack blindly. They get in there, they study the enemy, they figure out its tactics, its weak points, all to coordinate the perfect, targeted takedown. Once the T cells have done their recon, they brief the B cells. These are your elite commandos, and they get to work building weapons. Highly specific weapons called antibodies. And when I say specific, I mean it. Each antibody is like a key designed for a single lock. It's a custom-built weapon that will only work against one particular enemy. And here's the real magic, the part that changes everything. After the battle is won, the system remembers. It creates that watch list, those memory cells. So now, if the same terrorist ever tries to invade again, there's no intelligence gathering, no ramp-up time. The defenses are already there waiting. The response is faster, it's stronger, and it's way more effective. This is what we call immunity. Now, because this acquired system is so sophisticated, it allows for a couple of really clever special operations, basically strategies to get ahead of the enemy. The first one is vaccination. And honestly, the best way to think about this is as a mock drill for your immune army. We introduce a weakened or a piece of a fake enemy. It's completely harmless, but it lets your T cells and B cells run their full protocol. They study it, they build the weapons, and most importantly, they create the memory cells. All of this happens without any actual danger. So if the real enemy ever shows up, your army is already trained, armed, and ready to go. The other special op is something called passive immunity. This is kind of like borrowing soldiers from an ally. You're given ready-made antibodies directly, maybe from a mother to a baby in the womb or through a medical injection. It gives you instant protection, which is fantastic, but it's only temporary. Because your own army didn't do the training, no memory gets created. Once those borrowed soldiers are gone, so is the protection. Okay, so let's wrap this all up. Time for a final security briefing, putting our two defense forces side by side.
If we break it down, it's pretty clear. You've got your innate immunity, the police. They're super fast, but they're generalists and they have zero memory. Then you have your acquired immunity, the army. They're slow to act the very first time, but they are incredibly specific, and their long-lasting memory makes every future response lightning fast. They're two totally different strategies, but they work together perfectly.
Which brings me to a final question for you to think about. When you compare the local police to the national army, which one is actually more important for a country's survival? And the real answer is, you absolutely need both. You need the police on the streets every single day handling small stuff, and you need the army ready for the major threats. One can't do the other's job, but together they keep the nation safe.